The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Mannin Line on Manx Radio. We're an open line today. Call 66 13 68. Text 166 177. WhatsApp, same number, 166 177. Or email studio@manxradio.com. So whatever's on your mind, could be a follow-up to yesterday with the Enterprise Minister and Chief Officer, or something new. You may have heard, it's been in the news all morning, but today is the last day of the public consultation on the application to develop the first offshore wind farm in the Isle of Man in territorial waters. It closes today, Tuesday 18th. The opportunity for you to express your view on the application launched on the 26th of August this month. Comen announced they'd accepted the proposal from Mooir Vannin Offshore Wind Farm Limited for examination under the Marine Infrastructure Management Act 2016. You need to go to mima.gov.im to read the application, see if you want to say anything. By all means, you're more than welcome to contribute to the proceedings. So it finishes today. Close of play today, and they'd like to hear from you. mima@gov.im to read the application, to register as an interested party, to be kept informed of all the meetings that are going to be held. Let's get to the phones now, and I think we got Robert first with us today. Hi, Robert.
Hi there, how you doing?
Good, thanks. Yeah, what's on your mind?
Well, a report's come out from the post office in terms of our postcode values. I imagine Stu Peters has got something to do with that, but if I could just go through it with you, if I could just read it off. It says progressive, one team, sustainable, trust, creative, open, dependent, and efficient, which spells out postcode. And it goes on to talk about what services the post office provide in terms of profit and loss divisions. And I was just wondering, one of the business solutions is scanning. I think they should move that into the retail division, because I don't think a lot of people can connect a scanner to a computer. I think they're missing a trick there. I think you should be able to scan documents in the post office and leave it with them for half a day. Sorry, I've had my omelette today. And maybe just have a chat with them about, maybe paying for that service, maybe 50p for the service or something like that.
50p?
I think there's
50. Where have you been living? You don't get anything for 50p these days, do you?
I'm sorry, actually. Can I correct you there? Because that's how much it costs at Cannell's Print.
Well, I'm sure they'll be very happy you gave them a plug.
Well, yeah. The point is that I think there should be a scanning division in retail for the postcode values of the post office. And the second thing I wanted to talk about was immigration. Now, they said in Tynwald today there's something about agencies for using people coming in terms of immigration. Now, as far as I know, to get a sponsorship from a company, it's not a binding certificate or anything like that you can get a sponsorship from a company to get resident status. So, nothing is binding about it if you're a sponsored person for a company doing a job. So that's a residency backdoor right there. So iceberg right ahead. So I think there should be more of a binding agreement on sponsorship for people in companies to get residency.
Sorry, say that again. Then you can get sponsored for a job. Say that again.
It's residency for residency, right. In terms of like having jobs, having sponsorship for residency permit. You can get a job, and you can get sponsorship for that job for 2 years, but it has to be followed by the company, and it's a non-binding agreement. So I think it's a backdoor. And I just posted on Isle of Man News and Politics, as Julie Edge was talking about it herself. There are agencies involved, and I was just checking what are these agencies that are involved in checking people coming into our borders.
Well, that's something we'll follow. Why? What's your concern?
Well, I don't think agencies could be anyone, couldn't they? I mean, it just seems like it's a non-binding agreement.
What do you mean? Anybody can set up and call themselves an agency?
Well, I think in terms of, where do you get the gravitas from? I think it'll probably be a security agency or something like that. But I don't see why that couldn't just be a normal company asking for residency permits and things like that. Mm-hmm. So, it could be a cooperative or something like that they've set up to actually do it properly. So I just think I'm a bit woolly, but I actually got someone through this, and it's very hard when you have two people shouting at you up in immigration about, well, this guy doesn't seem to be here and that guy doesn't seem to be here, and this has all gone wrong. I had to turn around and say, look, you have to calm down. Can you calm down, please? And I was really, really taken aback by the government issuance of that.
Okay, all right. We appreciate it. Robert, thanks for being with us today. Just a quick word about MiCard. The service is due to be switched off at the end of this year. Treasury is still negotiating backup options for MiCard users who don't have a bank account. The Minister's been quizzed again in Tynwald. Dr. Allinson, the service which allows users to pick up their benefits and pensions in cash, will be switched off on New Year's Eve. Currently, there are 843 people registered to use their MiCards. It's not known how many of those have bank accounts. Dr. Allinson says 118 have already paid some benefits directly into their bank accounts, so will be approached about collating their claims. Now, a number of Tynwald members have expressed concern about the service being switched off before a suitable alternative has been found for those who don't have or can't have a bank account. Dr. Allinson admits that delaying the switch-off will be more complicated than they already thought.
Final discussions with potential providers are ongoing and are close to being finalised, but I can assure the Honourable Member that at least one alternative method of payment will be in place from the beginning of January. We've reached out to the Post Office to see whether that deactivation can be delayed, but it seems to be those cards, if they are going to be used, will have to be completely reissued for people.
That's Dr. Allinson talking in Tynwald this morning. David's with us now. Hi, David.
Hi, Randy. Just the very thing I was talking about, actually, over the weekend there. I've had a number of people on to me about MiCards and the future of them, so that's very helpful as far as I'm concerned. I'd had a word with Rob Collister over the weekend there and asked him to intervene slightly or push it a little bit more to say, what are the post office doing for their customer base? I.e., that's where the MiCards, you can get them, go into any post office and put your MiCard in there and get your money back out. I mean, I don't know what these politicians are doing sitting around. This has crept up on us. And now that the old penny bank has been put out to pasture, they're going to sell it off, aren't they? It's just wondering how people are going to get money in the future. I mean, a lot of people on the Isle of Man still live on money.
Yeah.
That's hard cash in a wallet or a purse. And I just wonder what they're actually going to do. And I just wonder what Stu, as the chairman of the post office, maybe we should get around sometime and say, what other interactive things are they going to try and do for the post office?
I think it would be helpful, David, because they've never actually said how much MiCard costs. All they ever say is it's very expensive, it costs money. But if they actually said, look, it costs, I don't know, 50,000, 60,000 a year to run it, then we'd all understand. We'd understand the numbers. But if it's only 10 or 15,000, and the other thing is, as you say, there are some people who use cash. And let's face it, there are some people who think that people who use cash are a bit behind the times. You know, the people who are very tech savvy and they tap everything and this, that and the other. And let's face it, it would be fair to say that they look down on people who use cash. It's why are these people using cash? Well, the future is to have a card and tap and this, that and the other. But the trouble is, some people prefer cash. That's all there is to it. And at the moment, it's a right to have cash.
It is, and I'm one of them as well. I don't carry a lot of cash, but I do carry cash, and I like to have something in my wallet. Because when you go into the supermarket, you're just buying something quickly there. It worries me a little bit, Andy, is where these, and we need the Office of Fair Trading in sometime, or one of the officers to find out, all these phones, we see them just coming in and tapping the side of the thing. Potential fraud or debt, which is the biggest thing. It'll come up when the bill comes in a month's time, isn't it? And you think, oh my God, did I spend all that money? And we're coming up to Christmas, aren't we? This morning at the Pensioners Club, we had the lady from the Salvation Army come to us, the new girl that's there, or the new captain or whatever she was, telling us about food banks, telling us about lunch club, which is going to happen in January again. We're not a real poor island, but Andy, I just wonder when the food bank fella is saying his stock is dropping down, nobody's committing to it anymore, and then we've got to worry about Christmas presents for kids for Christmas time through the Salvation Army.
Well, the thing is, there is a section of society that is badly off, and there's no dressing that up. There are some people who simply don't have enough money, and they're going to find themselves, on the horns of a dilemma. They're going to get caught between the devil and the deep blue sea at Christmas, particularly if children are involved, because nobody wants to see children go without presents at Christmas. But the trouble is, when the bill comes in January, David, it's who'd have thought it. So something has to be done.
Yeah. And the other thing is, too, you looked at, I think it was Steve that was on, was talking about Peel. There's no bank in Peel now, and now Penny's going. There's no opportunity there. I just wondered, do you remember that thing that was called the Isle of Man Bank?
Oh, crikey, yes. What a quaint notion that was.
That number one, isn't she, in the banking licence or whatever
in the company, it's 001, company 001.
Yeah. But maybe it's the time to say to, or politicians say to them, maybe we should look at that. Maybe we should be saying to these bankers and say to Treasury, next time the Treasury guy's on, we'll have a go and say to him, what is he doing with the banks? How is he talking to them for the future? We're not at a lower level where some people think we are. We're not at that lower level. But we need to protect some elements of society. And MiCard, to me, is just definitely one of them. Well, I know a particular lady.
Yeah, the thing is... Sorry, go on, David.
I was going to say, she's struggling all the time. And she turned around to me the weekend and said, what am I going to do? I said, well, don't worry too much. Get onto your politician. She doesn't live in Onken, so she's got to go somewhere else. And I think she's not getting much response from where her politicians are. I won't say where she was from. But it's sad when somebody knocks on your door or rings you up and says to you, David, next time you're on the radio, mention about the MiCards again and just liven it up a little bit, because I don't think the politicians are listening.
Well, as you say, there are some people who need help, and that's all they're asking for, help. Yeah. And surely in this day and age, we can help people, David.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is Social Security building shuts. I didn't realise that. In the afternoon, it shuts at a certain time. What happened to the 35-hour week or the 40-hour week or whatever? These big offices down near there, Safeways there, the big building there, shuts at a certain time. When people get out of trouble, they lose a job or whatever, they need help, don't they? They need to go to a place where they can help people out. And that's why people are relying more to do it now on charities. It makes me wonder what they're all up to in that government. All right, mate.
Good to hear from you. Thanks, David. Thanks for being with us today. 21 minutes past 12. This is the situation with MiCard. And the fact that some people like cash. And really, the fact that some people like cash bluntly, it's not a subject for judgment. If people want cash, that's all there is to it. You may be very tech savvy, you may tap and click and this, that, and the other all the time, but some people like cash, and there are certain places that you can use cash. Try walking around some of the shows, and if the Wi-Fi goes down, how are you going to pay for stuff? It's often very useful to have cash around. It may die out in the future, but at the moment we can use cash, and some people feel reassured, and they shouldn't be judged on that basis, the fact that they actually like using cash. Here's Mark with us now. Hello, Mark.
Yeah, hi, Andy. I just wanted to just anecdotal sort of conversation I had with somebody on the MiCard, and I was on the ferry and I was just passing the time with an acquaintance who's a fairly senior person in one of the major banks over here, and we were just discussing about the difficulty of opening bank accounts. Anecdotally, this person says, and I won't mention the bank and I won't mention his name, but he said that, did you know that someone from Treasury called me up a week before it was due to be discussed in Tynwald, asking whether we could help offer a solution or something similar to the MiCard, and he said no, we couldn't. And he also he sort of alluded to the fact that he felt that Treasury were just calling up, wanting to tick a box to show that they had actually reached out and were in consultation with banks about trying to find a solution to MiCard. And he was astounded, and I was astounded, and it was just something very shocking that they seem to have, stopped MiCard with no solution and scrambling around the week before it's just to be discussed in Tynwald about trying to find a solution. And the interesting thing he was discussing as well was that he said, no, we did. A lot of the banks just simply won't discuss it because obviously, some people unfortunately may go to, not just sort of the vulnerable, but just say somebody, goes to prison and they're trying to get out and they, trying to make a better life for themselves. They leave prison, but they can't get a bank account because they've got a criminal record and they need a MiCard. And I'd never even thought about that. And the other point I just wanted to raise just about the post office and the link to MiCard and the importance of the post office with banks, the retail banks, the front office banks, the banks themselves becoming more and more online. I mean, it's inevitable that, in 15, 20 years' time, we probably won't have many banks for people to walk into. And that highlights the importance of the post office for a place in the future where people can go to actually find solutions or to talk to somebody about what they need to do. I mean, if you think at the moment we're all using smartphones, right? But in 15, 20 years' time, there's talk about smartphones disappearing and technology being something else. And in 15, 20 years' time, I'm going to be significantly older, and maybe I don't feel comfortable about using smartphones or not using the new technology, and I need somewhere to go to try and get somebody to help me navigate the way through finances and bank accounts. And I think the post office offers a sort of a buffer, whether it's now or whether it's 15 or 20 years' time, just for somewhere for someone to go to discuss banking arrangements or face to face. Because technology is always progressing, and you're always going to need somewhere to go to talk to somebody. I just think it's a shame. The MiCard cock-up is just ridiculous.
You would hope, Mark, that somebody at the post office, somebody senior, somebody with far more brains than you and I, have got a big plan for 20 years' time, thinking this is going to be the technology, as you say. Smartphones may go, maybe the watch on your wrist, you may talk into it. But the thing is, we will still need a bricks and mortar place to go to talk to somebody, to do things, to hand things over, to collect things, to fetch things. We're going to need something in the future, and you would hope the post office have got a plan somewhere for this.
Well, absolutely, and I suppose you can call it the post office, but it's not just the post office, is it? It's more than the post office. It's sort of a government building or a government place whereby people can go, whereby they can't keep up with technology. At the moment, thankfully, I can keep up with technology. I consider myself pretty adept. But in 20 years' time, when I'm a bit older, or 25 years' time when I'm a bit older, I may not be. And it's important to have that sort of, let's call it safe space where you can go in and people who struggle to keep up with technology can go. And that might be me and you in 25 years' time, Andy, hopefully all going well, And it's just, but I found the thing about the MiCard it's someone I know who basically said that the Treasury had contacted him a week before to be discussed in Tynwald whether they could have a solution, and he said no, we couldn't. But I find that he was gobsmacked, and so was I.
Interesting. Okay, appreciate it, Mark. Thanks for calling today.
Cheers. Thank you.
27 minutes past 12. Oh, just a quick word, by the way. Congratulations to Connor Cummins, who's announced he's going to be entering his own team in the TT next year. Connor Cummins will be there with Conrod Motorsport. Inspired by his own coffee brand. It's very nice coffee as well. Conrod's Motorsport will debut at next year's event, 20 years after he first rode on the course. Initially, Conrod will contest two Superstock TT races. The machine's yet to be confirmed, and Connor's going to review his options for the Superbike and Supersport classes as well. So well done to Connor Cummins. And please don't... Please be careful when you go around the mountain. Here's Nick with us now. Hello, Nick.
Yeah, hiya. Good afternoon. I had a question. I was out walking my dog on Sunday, quite early, Sunday morning. It was about 5 to 6, and I was on the not Shipyard Road, the bridge near Mooir Park. I can't remember the name of the road, but anyway, I looked up and I saw it was a perfectly clear sky, so I was just looking at the sky while I had my dog, and I saw 5 lights moving east in an easterly direction. But they looked like airplanes, but they were equally distant apart and in perfect single file. And I've seen airplanes flying, and they're usually not equally distant, and they're parallel.
Right.
They're not directly behind each other. I think there's something to do with, I'm no aviation expert, but jet wash and things like that.
Right.
But anyway, I looked up and I thought, well, that's odd, because there was 1 and 2, and they were moving at the same speed. And then I looked down at my phone to look at to look up a radar transponder site, for tracking airplanes, and I couldn't see anything.
So what time, Nick? What time was it again?
About 5 minutes to 6 on Sunday morning. So it's pitch black. It's pitch black.
Okay, and was the sky
very clear sky?
Was the sky? Oh, the sky was clear. I think.
Yeah.
This isn't for sure, but I think this may be a stream of satellites. Elon Musk satellites. It's called Starlink.
Oh. Right. Okay.
There are tons of satellites around the Earth, and I think they're geostationary, but the movement of the Earth will make them seem like they're moving. I think you spotted satellites.
All right. Well, it's interesting because when I looked back up after looking at my phone, I saw another 6. There was quite a gap between those, and then there was another 6 or more. I couldn't really count because somewhere in the distance. And I looked, I got my compass out. Well, the compass that's on an iPhone, and it was perfectly east. But they weren't flashing. They were white, and they were moving at exactly the same speed, and they were pretty much the same distance apart. And I just wondered if anybody knew what that was, because I went back home and then looked up on a laptop a radar thing and did a search on the previous the historic views of the radar, and I saw lots of planes. I saw the EasyJet going and whatnot, and lots of planes in Belfast and around there, and I zoomed out, and there was absolutely zero pattern of any planes going east.
Right.
So I just wondered if anybody like Howard or anybody else guys who are quite knowledgeable knew what they might have been.
My contention is it was Starlink satellites. If anybody knows better, but it wasn't a UFO anyway, Nick. You weren't about to be transponded somewhere else.
I wasn't going to be beamed up by Scotty.
Yeah. Okay. Appreciate it.
All right, I'm just curious. Thanks.
Oh, by the way, Nick, what's the name of your dog?
Oh, he's Alfie. Alfie is a tiny little thing.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was only that early because he actually wanted to go out. Normally going to bark and snap at me if I try to take him out. So.
All right. Thanks for calling today.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Right.
29 minutes before 1. If you spotted these lights in the sky, I think if Nick was by the ship, was that Shore Road in Ramsey, looking up in the sky, clear sky, 5 to 6 Sunday morning. Were they the Starlink satellites? Was it Elon Musk in inner space? Malcolm's on now. Hello, Malcolm.
Oh yeah. Good afternoon, Andy. Just a bit about the MiCard system.
Yep.
I wrote to Chief Minister Alfred Cannon regarding this, and just asked him if it could be, if there was a consideration in getting it reversed, the idea of cancelling it. I am a MiCard user, my wife is as well, and there are much more to it, I think, which I've mentioned to Mr. Cannon in my email, that the post offices and the associated shops, because most of the post offices now are in shops, will suffer from this. We go to the Ballaugh post office on a Friday and collect our pensions, and we meet lots of friends and acquaintances that we've made through the years, and it's a bit of a social sort of half an hour or so for us as well as doing a bit of shopping in the one-stop shop there. Now, I did have a reply from Mr. Cannon, which was very good of him. Can I just read you this? It's only very short.
Of course, yeah.
Dear Malcolm, thank you for writing to me regarding the MiCard. I confess I have some disappointment that the Treasury are discontinuing this service without a replacement mechanism to collect cash for pensioners and other users. And then he goes on. Oh, damn, I've lost it. Hang on just a sec, sorry. I know that many members of Tim Board are equally concerned, and I can assure you that I will be seeking for this matter to be resolved satisfactorily. Yours sincerely, Alfred Cannon, MHK. So it looks as if there's quite a lot of members are against this. So
what would you like to happen, Malcolm?
I would like it to be reversed, and everybody gets the cash as they as and when they as they need it. Not just us pensioners, but also other people for other social benefits. I just don't think it should have been cancelled at all. Now I'm told that the MiCard system is actually produced by a company in the UK. And I suggested to Mr. Cannon that with the tech companies that we have in the Isle of Man, I'm sure that we could produce one here, and probably at a lot less cost. Because if it's just the cost of the MiCard that's stopping this, then it just seems a shame that it is stopping it. Because, this may seem silly, and I'm not saying I can't do it, because I'm sure I can. But I and my wife have never used a hole in the wall to draw cash. We've always had sufficient from our pension, from the cash that we collect from the post office. I'm sure I'll be able to do it without very much prompting, but it just seems a shame that myself and other people. One other thing that concerns me and a lot of people, people with a bank account, we have bank accounts and so forth, but I don't want to do online banking. But people with a bank account that have maybe gone into overdraft, now, if their payment is paid direct into the bank, that will be swallowed up, and so therefore their only means of cash, they're not getting the cash. Yeah. So their only means, their pension or benefits, will just be swallowed up by the bank to pay their overdraft. So therefore they'll be scratching for cash. We're not in that situation.
I don't speak for the government, but I'm sure this is all about money. I'm sure that the MiCard system was purchased a few years ago, and it's a royalty thing where you have to pay in every year to be it. And somebody somewhere has decided that they want to cut costs, so they want to get rid of MiCard, and they're hoping that everything will work out. Now the problem is it's not working. There are some people who simply don't want who want to use cash, and that's what they want to do. And the fact is that's a right. Surely that's a right. If somebody wants to use cash, it's for the government to find a way to do it.
Yeah, that's right. I did hear you comment before that people are somehow looked down upon who use cash. Well, I don't think that's the situation. Sometimes when I'm in a supermarket or a shop anywhere and people are paying by card, sometimes there's a problem with their card and it's rejected or so on and so forth, and so the queue builds up. I pretty well always pay by cash, and you just hand over the cash and that's it done. So from my sort of perspective, I think it's a simpler and easier way of paying for things, but there we are. That's just me, probably.
Well, the crunch will come on New Year's Eve, Malcolm.
Yes, yeah. Well, indeed. Unless there is something resolved. I did hear unofficially from somebody in the post office that this would probably be delayed for another 6 months. But that is unofficial, but it did come from somebody in the post office. So anyway, like you say, we'll see. It would be nice to have it reversed completely, and everybody who wants to receive their cash or their benefits and pensions by cash is able to. It just seems a fundamental sort of right, if you like.
Okay, all right. We appreciate it, Malcolm. Thanks for calling today. Good to hear from you.
Bye, Andy.
All right, 22 minutes before 1. Just a comment on the Mooir Vannin consultation. Says WhatsApp 462. My biggest concern is the size and scale of Mooir Vannin. Given the other projects it's promoted as powering up to 1.4 million UK homes. Should we be pushing the Isle of Man green energy needs foremost? Tynwald can set the wholesale pricing and provision, as the proposal is in international Isle of Man national waters it's in. Nobody's explained yet, by the way, the fact that this offshore wind farm and the contract for difference in it, i.e. that the subsidies being paid, will be paid by the UK. This will probably be a first where the UK will be paying subsidies for something that's not in their waters, it's in our waters. So it will be nice to, and I'm sure this is all going on behind closed doors, but it would be nice to know that we're not going to get left with a bill over this, that if the UK starts paying subsidies, that we don't have to throw some money into the pot as well. Do you think we should know? Is your online radio function working? It seems to be. Thank you, Mark. I'm glad it's working now. Cash is old school. It's expensive to hold, expensive to distribute, and in 2025, digital currency will be the new normal. In 20 years' time, your own finance will be about self-custody, says 015. Well, I noticed that Bitcoin has gone not far, has it? It's about where it was about 6 months ago now, isn't it? It will be the Starlink satellites, says Andrew, the Starlink satellites that Nick and Alfie the dog saw. Unfortunately, the section of society that's struggling are people in the private sector working 45 to 50 hours a week with no government support, especially single fathers, says Nick. Oh, Nick saw is it the ISS then, or was it Starlink satellites? Texter 942 says that lights were Starlink satellites. They look like a train of lights. They'll eventually split up and move to their allocated orbits, but that's Elon Musk's satellite internet service, which you can get on the Isle of Man. I know a few people have got that. The government should make it a legal requirement for each town to have a bank. The banks are obscenely wealthy anyway. Well, they wouldn't say that, Tommy. Well, they weren't a few years ago. Why should the taxpayer bear the expense of the MiCard system just because the banks want bigger profit margins? Well, thank you, Tommy. It's up to the banks, really, how much profit they want to make, isn't it? But the fact is, this MiCard thing is obviously down to money. Do you remember a few years ago when ShopRite, do you remember ShopRite? They had Clubman, and Clubman disappeared because it was too expensive. It cost a fortune to run a loyalty scheme like that. The old scheme of having, your credits put onto a little card and then you could cash it in and what have you. These things cost money, probably long tens of thousands, and the government is trying to save money, and we appreciate that the government's trying to save money. They're doing it on our behalf. The world's changing rapidly. I'm aware other countries are doing nothing to slow down climate change. India, Russia, Pakistan are doing nothing to stop putting dangerous emissions into the ozone layer. But we as a nation must do our bit to slow it down, even if some people think it's pointless, as we won't make a difference. But we must try. Combined with England, Norway, Sweden, we will make a difference by installing wind farms. That will help significantly. So please stop, everybody, and think of our children's future and their lives, says John Ramsey. MiCard, if you bank with Isle of Man Bank and you want cash out, you can queue for over an hour at Athol Street to get cash, where before it took 10 minutes at the post office.
Charity of the Week, brought to you by Kell Properties.
Live at Home is a dedicated Manx charity enhancing life for older people across our communities. We combat loneliness, promote independence and connect people who care. Join us through volunteering, fundraising or donating to our Coats for Winter campaign. Together we can make ageing on the Isle of Man happier, healthier and more connected. Visit liveathome.im.
This advert is brought to you by Kell Properties.
Visit the New Look Cafe Villa and sample the new menu. With disabled parking right outside the door, Cafe Villa is the perfect spot to park up for hearty breakfasts, pancakes, baked potatoes, delicious mains, award-winning ice cream and much more. Using local produce where possible and supporting local producers. With seating inside and out and a stunning sea view. It's a relaxing spot. New look, new menu. That's Cafe Villa on Douglas Prom. Open 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. every day. With easy disabled parking spaces at the front entrance.
I've waved my magic wand and Panto is back at the Gaiety Theatre. From the 19th to the 31st of December, Stage Ed proudly presents the greatest pantomime of them all, Cinderella! Join Cinderella, her ugly sisters, Cheeky Buttons and Dashing Prince, and of course, me, your fabulous fairy godmother. Expect laughter, music, fun and the biggest Christmas treat for the whole family. But hurry, tickets are flying faster than my pumpkin carriage. Book now at villagaiety.com or call the box office on 600 555. Cinderella at the Gaiety Theatre. Don't miss your chance to sparkle.
Sponsored by Kingsley Moody and supported by Manx Radio.
The latest edition of Manx Radio's Breath Mindfulness podcast with Karen Hardman is available now.
Breathe in for 4 counts. Flood your body with fresh oxygen.
Brought to you by the Good Health Store on Station Road in Port Erin.
Take yourself to an environment where good things happen. This could be an early morning winter walk.
Pause and reflect. The latest in the Breath Mindfulness series with Karen Hardman and available now at manxradio.com.
The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
Well, Faster Mike, good afternoon, and thank you to, this is Desmond who says, Andy, don't worry about the future. Rest assured you won't have any worries about future technology. You will have a chip implant. Well, that's great because I love chips. Don't you? Thanks also to was that what he meant? Yes, everybody's talking. It's Starlink that we're talking about. It is. Everybody's saying it is Starlink, so which is good news. Thank you for that. The Starlink train. Yes, the train of Starlink satellites. Everybody knows this. Send us some photos then if you know it. If you go to the Starlink website, it will show their position. Well, thank you for that. Thanks also. There should be. Let me see. Oh. Different piece of paper. Cash is old school. People want a choice whether they want to use cash or not. The government seems to be taking away the choice in many aspects of our lives. Using cash is being made harder. Some outlets won't take it anymore. And the lack of banks in our area, says Texter 775, is a worry, especially with the MiCard being removed. I know people who can't get accounts and who don't even trust banks. It feels like we're being pushed into a digital system. Mark mentioned it. So I would ask you to spare a thought then for the people, one section of society that can't get a bank account, and these are people who've been in prison. Now, prison is not just about punishment. Prison is about rehabilitation. It's about getting people back into society. We all swim in the same water in the Isle of Man. So you don't want people who are going to be disadvantaged. And let's face it, some people may go to prison for non-violent crimes. Maybe they just got themselves into a situation that they can't handle, didn't want to ask for any help, and they end up in prison. Could be a concatenation of events, and suddenly they're in prison, they come out, they can't get a bank account, and they're at a disadvantage. Now, surely we need to do something about that. Surely we need to help people who want to be responsible members of society, have seen the error of their ways, paid their debt to society, but they can't get a bank account. Now, where do they stand? We all know people who've transgressed in the past. We know people. And some people turn their lives around absolutely, completely, and give to society, raise families, start companies. But years ago, it was relatively easy to do that. Nowadays, with banks being risk-averse, it's not as easy to get a bank account. Now, surely somebody needs to step in and help people who are in that position. Liz says many older people who can't get out much need cash. They may pay a mobile hairdresser, a cleaner or a window cleaner and give pocket money to grandchildren. Many struggle with eyesight when using mobile phones. So that's the whole issue. We need to keep cash in society, says Texter 345. It's been a successful currency for a reason. Technology can fail, Physical money will always be there. My biggest concern says, unfortunately, the section of society that's struggling again are people in the private sector, yes, and it feels as though some officials don't care enough about the elderly. Many older people rely on cash, says Daphne. I use it 95% of the time. And here's Anne with us now. Hello, Anne.
Well, hi, Andy. It's just what you were talking about before,
yeah,
with people being incarcerated that can't get bank accounts. Well, people used to get locked up for the smallest amount of cannabis, which is now legal with a prescription, and the government's making a lot of money off that now, or someone's making a lot of money. Those people who have been unfairly judged in the past because maybe they couldn't get help from the doctor or something, and cannabis was the only pain relief that they could actually find on the street to help them cope with life. And, the systemic cruelty that goes with life. So what about those people that are being ill-judged for something that is now legal and the government are actually making a lot of money out of it?
Well, you would think there would be a system where anybody who's been in jail, as I say, we're not talking about, really, really serious crimes, but I mean people who want to turn their lives around, and the probation service is there for that. They'll know the sort of people who want to turn their lives around, and those people should surely be given a hand up.
Well, absolutely, but they're the first ones that will get thrown out of banks and everything. Just their bank accounts will be shut automatically with stuff like that. So, and how unfair it is, and maybe there should be some sort of pardon system.
Well, and the thing is, years before, when we had 30 branches of Isle of Man Bank on the Isle of Man, you could go and see a bank manager, you could speak to somebody, you could speak to a real person, and they would make a decision there and then. Now, of course, you're on the phone, you're online, you're calling somebody in Jersey or here, there and everywhere, and the chances are it's not going to end that well.
Well, yes, because people even got the money now. Most of us have got mobile phones and no landlines, and we're on pay-as-you-go. So you can't even ring these people because you can't afford it. and how unfair the system has gone towards the corporate services side of it, and it's all about making a profit out of us now and not helping us.
Well, that's it. I mean, that's it. And the banks really just want corporate customers. They want commercial customers because there's no money in private banking anymore. They've kind of said that by closing all the branches.
Yes, I remember them well. Port St Mary used to have 2 banks,
Right,
banks.
Yeah. All right, Anne, good. Yeah. We appreciate your point. Thanks for calling us today.
On our island, you know the value of the real thing. Fresh air, unspoilt landscapes, a road that truly connects you to the ride. That's why at Manx Petroleum, our premium vehicle fuels are just as pure. No unnecessary metallic additives, no shortcuts, just quality ethanol-free petrol and fame-free diesel. The way it should be. When it comes to what goes in your tank, go premium, go Manx Petroleum. Manx Petroleum, always here for you.
Thinking about your next step? Whether you're leaving school, changing career or aiming higher, University College Isle of Man is here for you. Join us at our open evening on Thursday 20th of November from 4 to 7 p.m. at our Homefield Road campus. Discover our courses, meet expert lecturers, explore the facilities and see how UCM can help you belong, grow and thrive. Visit ucm.ac.im for more information.
Corkill and Callow are the longest-serving funeral directors on the island, relied upon during the most difficult times. We understand that nobody wants to arrange a funeral. That's what we're here for. Our small, friendly team are here to support you, making a challenging time more manageable. With our base in Ramsey and now open in Ballasalla, let us take care of everything so that you can focus on what matters most. Call Corkill and Callow on 855 354.
The Isle of Man Symphony Orchestra's exciting gala concert this month will feature Rimsky-Korsakov's Capriccio Espagnol, Shostakovich's Second Piano Concerto with soloist Dominika Mack, and Sibelius's First Symphony. An afternoon of brilliant music in the Villa Marina Royal Hall on Sunday the 23rd of November. Tickets on sale now.
Are you a small charity here on the Isle of Man? Are you looking for volunteers, hoping to raise awareness and chasing those crucial pounds and pennies to support your work? Well, Manx Radio can help. You could be our next 1 to 3 Charity of the Week. With daily on-air coverage, podcast and social media promotion, we can help support you and those you help. Just email the numbers 123@manxradio.com and listen out for the feature each weekday between 1 and 3 p.m. The Charity of the Week, brought to you by Kell Properties.
The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
And talking of the charities, Live at Home this week run a number of initiatives such as Men in Sheds, monthly lunch clubs and befrienders to help combat loneliness and more. And Christy has also got tickets to see the smash hit Oliver. It's an Olivier and Tony Award-winning comedy, The 39 Steps, Parker and Snell's version of the Hitchcock thriller. That's there. I'd like to know who has the ultimate sign-off and authority over the airport car park. I drive a standard VW Golf, but the RingGo app always tells me I can't park in the cheaper standard car park and insists I move to the more expensive one. So why is this? Who decides which cars are affected? RingGo won't respond to questions. Nobody in government seems to know or care. I know others who've had the same issue, says Phil. What's going on and who do we complain to? So have you had that? Have you got a standard car and they insist you go to the more expensive one? And if so, what do you do? What do you say to them? And it would be nice to know. I mean, I think Michelle Haywood said there was a chance they were going to be moving, or there may be something different now that with the RingGo app made. But we never even knew how much money we made out of it. We never knew how much money they took. Do you remember, I think it was about a week ago, Stephen called up and just said in the UK, their financial services people have got a statutory duty to get cash to people. Well, and you wanted to know what happens here. Well, the Isle of Man FSA said that they monitor developments on the Isle of Man financial services sector, including the consumer impact and community response to issues like branch closures and withdrawal of ATMs, i.e. cash in the community.
When the Mannin Line's not on air, call Manx Radio to leave your opinion for broadcast on 682 631.
They gave us a piece of paper to read, so here it is. Changes to banking services may occur as a result of commercial decisions, with a drop in footfall, shift towards digital banking, often cited as the main reason behind closures. The authority's consent is not required for a bank to close or reduce hours of operation or a regional branch. There's no current equivalent in the Isle of Man to the UK access to cash legislation. Doesn't exist here. The authority continues to work with the Department for Enterprise, which is considering the recommendations in the Access to Cash report in relation to cash and accessibility across the Isle of Man. As the island's financial regulator, they've got a range of tools at their disposal, including the use of voluntary codes, guidance and rulebook requirements. For example, the authority can specify that a bank must comply with the applicable code or standard. They've used it in relation to branch and ATM closures and expectations placed on banks. What do you make of that? Cash availability on the Isle of Man. Is it all a bit passé, by the way, using cash? How much have you got in your pocket now? Open line tomorrow. Thursday, we're at the Woodburn Pub for the Woody Club on Thursday. More senior members of society and their opinions. It's going to be fun. Thanks to Chris on the phones today. Have a great Tuesday.
WINT.